The Goldschmidt gamble. Redemption or desperation in the Bronx. There's a sound that echoes through Yankee Stadium right now. It's the sound of a franchise that believes it's found the missing piece. It's the sound of front office that's willing to bet on redemption. It's the sound of hope dressed up as a one-year, $12.5 million contract. And that sound has a name, Paul Goldschmidt. The New York Yankees have signed the former MVP. They've brought in a 7-time All-Star. They've acquired a 2022 National League MVP. And they've done it to address what might be the most glaring weakness in their roster. First base. Let's talk about what this signing actually means. Let's talk about what the Yankees are really betting on. Let's talk about whether this is a move that finally pushes them over the edge or another desperate gamble that could blow up in their faces. First, let's establish the context. The Yankees have spent the offseason on an absolute spending spree. They signed Max Fried to a massive $218 million contract. They acquired Devin Williams to shore up their bullpen. They brought in Cody Bellinger to provide depth in the outfield. They've been aggressive. They've been bold. They've been willing to spend money to address their needs. And now they've added Paul Goldschmidt to mix. On the surface, it makes sense. The Yankees struggled at first base in 2024. They had production issues at the position. They had players who couldn't get the job done. They needed an upgrade. And Goldschmidt, even in his worst season, is still a significant upgrade over what they had. But here's where the conversation gets complicated. Here's where we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Paul Goldschmidt had a challenging 2024 season. That's the polite way to describe it. That's the diplomatic way to talk about a player who hit .245 with a .716 OPS and 65 RBIs. Those are not the numbers you expect from a 7-time All-Star. Those are not the numbers you expect from a former MVP. Those are the numbers of a player who's struggling. Those are the numbers of a player who's in decline. For Goldschmidt, 2024 was his worst statistical year in recent memory. It was a season that raised serious questions about whether he could still perform at an elite level. It was a season that made scouts wonder if age had finally caught up with him. So the question becomes, is the Yankees signing betting on Goldschmidt bouncing back? Or are they betting on a player who's past his prime? That's the real calculation. That's the real risk. Let's talk about Goldschmidt's career trajectory. He's been one of the most consistent hitters in baseball for over a decade. He's won an MVP award. He's been an all-star multiple times. He's been the kind of player that every organization would love to have. He's been a cornerstone. He's been a franchise player. But age is undefeated in baseball. Time catches up with everyone. And Goldschmidt is not getting younger. He's at an age where decline is not just possible, it's probable. So when the Yankees sign him to a one-year deal, they're essentially saying, we believe you can bounce back. We believe you can return to form. We believe you can be the player you were before 2024. That's a bold bet. That's a calculated risk. That's the kind of move that could either look brilliant or catastrophic, depending on how it plays out. Now, let's talk about what Goldschmidt actually brings to the Yankees beyond his statistical production. The article mentions his leadership. It mentions his defense. It suggests that these intangible qualities could spark a Yankees revival, and there's merit to that argument. Goldschmidt is a professional. He's a player who knows how to win. He's a player who's been through battles. He's a player who can teach younger players how to approach the game. In a clubhouse that features Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and now Cody Bellinger, adding Goldschmidt's veteran presence could be valuable. It could be the kind of thing that helps a team gel. It could be the kind of leadership that makes a difference in October. But leadership doesn't put runs on the board. Defense doesn't win championships by itself. Intangibles matter, but they matter most when a player is still producing at a high level offensively. And that's the critical question. Can Goldschmidt produce at a high level offensively? Based on his 2024 season, the answer is unclear. Based on his recent trajectory, the answer is uncertain. Based on his age, the answer is probably no. But baseball is a game of hope. Baseball is a game where anything is possible. Baseball is a game where a player can have one bad year and then bounce back to form the next season. It happens. It's happened before. It could happen again. The question is the Yankees front office betting on hope? Or are they betting on something more concrete? Let's talk about the broader context of the Yankees offseason. They've spent over $200 million on Max Fried alone. They've brought in multiple pieces. They've been aggressive in the free agent market. They've been willing to spend money to address their needs. This is a franchise that's all in on winning in 2025. So the Goldschmidt signing fits that narrative. It fits the idea that the Yankees are trying to build a championship roster. It fits the idea that they're willing to take risks to get better. But it also raises questions. It raises questions about whether the Yankees are making smart moves or desperate moves. It raises questions about whether they're building a sustainable roster or mortgaging their future for short-term success. Because here's the thing about signing aging players to prove it deals. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a player like Goldschmidt bounces back and has a great season. Sometimes a player like Goldschmidt continues to decline and becomes a liability. There's no way to know which scenario is going to lay out until the season actually starts. So the Yankees are taking a calculated risk. They're betting that Goldschmidt can bounce back. They're betting that his 2024 season was an anomaly. They're betting that he can return to form. And if he does, if he bounces back to being the player he was before 2024, then this signing could be one of the best moves the Yankees make all offseason. It could be the move that pushes them over the edge. It could be the move that finally brings a championship back to the Bronx. But if he doesn't, if he continues to decline, if 2024 was the beginning of the end rather than a one-year aberration, then this signing could be a disaster. It could be a waste of money. It could be a move that the Yankees regret for years to come. Now, let's talk about the specific numbers. A one-year, $12.5 million deal is not a massive commitment. It's not the kind of contract that's going to cripple the Yankees' payroll. It's not the kind of deal that's going to prevent them from making other moves. It's a relatively modest investment for a player of Goldschmidt's caliber. That's actually smart front office work. That's the kind of contract structure that allows the Yankees to take a risk without exposing themselves to massive downside. If Goldschmidt bounces back, they get a superstar on a discount. If he doesn't, they only lose $12.5 million, which is manageable for an organization of the Yankee size. So, from a financial perspective, the deal makes sense. From a risk management perspective, the deal is structured well. From a baseball perspective, the deal is a gamble. The question is it the right gamble? Here's what I think is actually happening. The Yankees are in a championship window. They have Aaron Judge. They have Giancarlo Stanton. They have Max Fried. They have the resources to compete for a World Series. And they're trying to fill in the gaps. They're trying to address the weaknesses. They're trying to build a roster that can win in October. Goldschmidt, at his best, is the kind of player that helps you win in October. He's the kind of player that can carry a team in the postseason. He's the kind of player that makes a difference when it matters most. But the risk is real. The risk is that Goldschmidt is past his prime. The risk is that 2024 was not an aberration, but the beginning of decline. The risk is that the Yankees are betting on a player who's about to fall off a cliff. That's the Goldschmidt gamble. That's what the Yankees are really betting on. So here's my assessment. It's a reasonable risk for a one-year deal. It's the kind of move that makes sense for a team in a championship window. It's the kind of move that could work out brilliantly or fail miserably. The Yankees are betting that Paul Goldschmidt can bounce back. They're betting that his 2024 season was an anomaly. They're betting that he can return to form and help them win a championship. And maybe they're right. Maybe Goldschmidt will have a great 2025 season. Maybe he'll prove that he still has plenty of baseball left in him. Maybe he'll be the missing piece that pushes the Yankees over the edge. Or maybe they're wrong. Maybe Goldschmidt will continue to decline. Maybe the Yankees will regret this signing. Maybe they'll look back on 2025 and wonder why they wasted money on a declining player. Only time will tell. Only the 2025 season will reveal whether this is a brilliant move or a desperate gamble. But what's certain is this. The Yankees are all in on winning in 2025. They've spent money. They've taken risks. They've made moves. And the Paul Goldschmidt signing is the latest chapter in that story. So here's my question for you. Should the Yankees have signed Paul Goldschmidt? Is this the move that pushes them to a championship? Or is it a desperate gamble on a declining player? Can Goldschmidt bounce back from his worst season? Will he be the missing piece that the Yankees need? Let me know in the comments. And if you believe the Yankees can build a championship roster with these moves, if you think they're making the right decisions in the offseason, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because the 2025 season is going to tell us whether the Yankees front office is genius or whether they made a series of costly mistakes that will haunt them for years to come.